Welcome back, guys. Today we're going to cover if you are a delt dominant presser, if you have small pecs, have a hard time feeling your pecs, main mistakes that we're going to see with pec training and how we can fix that, or how we can get rid of delt dominance, or whatever excuse we want to have for having baby boy pecs, whatever it is. So biggest thing I'm going to see is an inability for us to organize the rib cage while pressing. So you'll kind of see categories of people who are like really stiff and hunched over, the sternum's kind of pulled down, or you'll see people that are like really excessively flared when they're pressing, or as they move, they're moving through the rib cage. Generally, when we're looking at training muscles, origin, insertion of the muscle, one should be kind of fixed while the other one's moving. So if I kind of think about my pec as going from, sternum across my rib cage and then attaching to my humerus, if I'm moving both humerus and my sternum at the same time, I'm not maximizing tension across those fibers. So one of the best things we can do is, first and foremost, if I'm overly flared, I'm not doing myself any favors in terms of creating tension across my pecs. So getting to a more stacked position, overly arching really is only gonna be beneficial on a barbell bench press. We're trying to lessen the range of motion from a performance standpoint, like not from aesthetics, but just getting the bar, from A to Z. Get to neutral. If we're kind of stuck sternum down, let's get that sternum up. I like to cue kind of like spine long, head to the ceiling, whatever it is. Just get that rib cage stacked over the pelvis and get some core tension. Don't be too loose, don't be moving around. You wanna have some relative rigidity of the torso as we're moving through the relative range of motion for a bench press. So that's gonna be the big one. And whether it's pressing, whether it's flies, we could get into minutia of arm path, but I think making this a more general video, flies will be more of an abducted arm path, pressing probably a little bit more adducted. We talk about some variance in terms of structure, but regardless of that, this rib cage rule is going to kind of apply to those exercises no matter what variant or what exercise you really throw in there. So that's the first thing. Next thing's going to be, again, the general theme here is minimizing extra movement that we do not need that might be getting rid of tension across of our pecs. So looking at the scaps, that's going to be another big one, is are we starting to get into a lot of elevation as we're going into shoulder extension, or even as we're going through relative shoulder adduction in like a fly, for example. So one of the biggest things that we're gonna see is my pecs don't attach to my scaps. So I would rather keep relative scapular stability. And I'm not saying pin the scaps down and be super rigid, which I think is also a whole other kind of fallacy in its own, talking about disruption of scapular humeral rhythm when we're in a mainly 0 to 90 degree of shoulder flexion. But generally speaking, I would rather cue depression on pressing on flies than relative retraction. I just want to make sure that I'm maintaining as much shoulder stability as possible as I'm moving through whatever the range of motion is, whether it's a fly or a press. So in range of retraction is actually gonna be elevation. If we look at orientation of the rhomboids, it's gonna actually pull traps or pull the scaps up. So cue relative depression. I'm getting to the point where I'm starting to get really shruggy on my pressing, on my flies. I probably just ran out of range of motion where I'm actually adding significant tension to my pecs. I'm not really gonna be adding much more past that point. So more range of motion is not always better. Let's make sure we're staying in a beneficial range of motion. And I'm not saying do half range of motion. I'm just saying, hey, when we get to that point of shoulder extension where we're getting really deep in the movement and I start getting really shruggy with it or into a fly, me going from here and then getting super shruggy is not really doing anything to add to my pecs. So recap, rib cage, is it starting neutral? Is it staying neutral? Is it moving too much? That's gonna be a big thing. Next thing is gonna be scaps. What are they doing? Are we keeping relative stability there? And then the third one's kind of like something that we don't typically look at. That's gonna be head movement. So as I'm going through pressing, as I go through relative shoulder extension, am I gonna be flaring my head up? Oftentimes what we're gonna be doing, one, is we're manipulating center of mass. So you'll kind of see these things coincide, a head flare with a rib cage flare. I'm moving my center of mass back. I'm probably running out of range of motion at the shoulder, and therefore I want to move somewhere else, or I'm trying to make up for where I might lack, whether it's mobility, whether it's just simply awareness. So one of the big things, just cue the head still or head top of the ceiling. That's one of my favorite cues because it's going to get us to a nice stack position at the rib cage. It's also going to keep the head still. Cue that with some relative scapular depression. We're going to get really good results if we just sum the video up into one line right there. That would be it. So typically what you'll see too is as we go through the more shortening phase, the head will drop forward. Again, the head's not going to make a major difference on shoulder mechanics. It'll have some if you want to get into some fine details there, but for the most part, we're just changing our center of mass. So we're getting ourselves out of position. We're trying to counterbalance somewhere. We're trying to make up for, some positioning we don't want to get into. Just keeping relative stability of the head, keeping stability of the rib cage, that's gonna go a long way for us just being and staying in a good position for us to maximize our pec training. So that's really all we need to know here. If I'm looking to really address across a variety of exercises, not what's the best exercise, not how to necessarily execute a specific exercise, But where are some places I can start to look? Rib cage isn't moving too much. Is it in a decent neutral position? Am I able to keep my scaps relatively depressed? Am I getting really shruggy? Are my scaps tipping forward? You know, that's a place to look in terms of making sure we're maximizing pec tension. The third thing is my head. What's my head doing? Am I moving too much? That may not be a single issue, but it might be more indicative of something else. And then the next thing, we could look at arm path a little bit. Just make sure we're not getting in like a super abducted arm path all the time. Let's get some variance here too, just to get a little bit more range of motion to the pec. So again, not going past our active range of motion, but just getting some variety there. That's where I'd sum it up. So thank you guys for watching. If you have other muscle groups you want me to cover with specifics, drop that down below. If you're not subscribed to the channel, please go ahead and do so right now. Please like the video as well. I appreciate you guys as always. Helps me out a ton.